to do it yourself and you mess it up, you can't just say, oh, oops, my bad, let me redo it.
I mean, there are some cases where you get a redo, but usually not. No, if you truly mess it up and there's already been a judgment entered or decision by the court,
Yes.
some, appellate law. There's some things a lawyer can do, but honestly, even before you have the dispute is the time to get a lawyer involved. Have someone look at your paperwork, have someone look at your contracts, your lease, your whatever kind of thing you might have a problem about early, then it doesn't cost much at all.
Yeah.
It's later when it gets really messy and you've already dug yourself into a hole. That's when a lawyer has to come undo things, vacate things, subpoena things, and it all under a time crunch. And let me tell you, lawyers are expensive, but they're way more expensive when we gotta fix things.
Right. So, what would your advice be to your younger self or to a younger person, not necessarily in age, but let's say a person that doesn't have experience with the legal system, and we're not talking any kind of particular legal problems. Could be real estate, it could be criminal, it could be anything. What's a piece of advice you would give to somebody to help them avoid making those mistakes in the first place?
I would say find your helpers early. Have people around you. Even if you don't have a lawyer on call, if you're going to sign a lease, maybe your mom's friend is a realtor. Maybe she can look at it and point out things.
Right.
That she's having problems. Or, maybe your friend's dad is a dentist or something. Ask for a second opinion. Find your helpers that are already naturally around you, and don't be embarrassed to ask for help. Because the truth is, none of us really know what's going on except for our own little world anyway, but we think we do, and we think we'll be okay, and you can save yourself a lot of time and hassle by just being humble enough to ask for help.
Yeah. I'll give you a good example. Last podcast I did with Jamie, one of his pieces of advice, business-wise, was to get everything in writing. Right? Not do business on a handshake. And I told you earlier while we were getting started that we just purchased a house and we're having a lot of work done. And I won't go into details, but I've had some stuff done by a friend, and then we had some other things done through one of the big box stores with a company that got the permits and everything. And they forgot to install a certain item that was part of the contract. And because we had a contract and it was in writing, all I had to do was call them up, say, hey, the inspector came out, this wasn't done, boom, boom, boom. And there's just no questions asked. It's in the contract. So that's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. I think we talked about trust before. I think what happens is when people are doing business together, when they start doing business together, they got a new venture, they're all excited and they're jazzed up and they like each other, right? They're like, yeah, we're gonna do this thing. Yeah, it's gonna be so great. You're gonna
besties for 20 years.
Exactly. You're gonna fix my roof, and we're gonna build this business. And then it's all nicey, and they say, we understand each other, right? And it's all good. Well, that's the time to get it in writing, not because you don't trust that person. It's like a prenup.
Yeah.
Like when you get married, you're not saying, I can't wait to divorce you. You're saying, if stuff goes sideways, this is how we're going to resolve it. And that's all getting it up in writing. It's protecting both people, both parties, both companies, whoever is in the deal. Put it down in writing, because what happens later is you come to a lawyer because you've got a problem, and the lawyer's like, well, where's the contract?
perspective on right and wrong changed from practicing law since you became an attorney? And not saying that you necessarily had a perspective on doing things the wrong way, but, you know, kind of like what you were talking about earlier when people represent themselves, you know, they think they're doing it right. How has your perspective changed on, you know, doing things right versus doing things wrong? Not necessarily right from wrong, but does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this sense people think when they get involved in the legal system, they're going to get justice, right? Like it's going to be justice. It's going to be what's right. I'm right, and I'm going to get what I want. But
Or I don't care what the law says, this is what's right.
well, the judge thinks what's right is what the law says.
Right.
So,
The law's the law.
That's something a lot of people think. You also have to, I mean, I don't want to get on a side tangent, but a judge is a human being too.
Right.
You know, who's had a whole legal career, may have been a criminal lawyer, may have been a civil lawyer, but now they may be sitting on the other bench even.
Right.
Is, you know, maybe they didn't have their coffee that day, maybe their wife yelled at them, and maybe they don't want to hear your crap today either, you know, even though you're 100% right. So there's right and wrong, and then there's what you can prove in court. And honestly, these days it's also, and how much is it going to cost?
Yeah.
Because you could be 100% right, but we'll tell you, unfortunately, because of the mechanics of the case, it's going to cost $10,000 or $20,000 to litigate, and you may only be fighting over $10,000 or $20,000.
Yeah, so pick your battles kind of thing.
Well, it becomes a cost-benefit analysis. I can get those fees and costs back from the other side, okay, but those are specific circumstances you need to consult with a lawyer about. But the fact of the matter is I see people all the time, but I'm right, or but this is fair. Yes. Unfortunately, our legal system, because it's so crowded and dockets are big and there's so much going on, it just costs that much, or it takes that much time. A lot of times. Not to say that
You're gonna have to yell, I think. That lawnmower's pretty loud. Yeah.
But, and I'm not trying to dissuade people from asserting their rights. Certainly there's cases where you don't have to pay a lawyer hourly, contingency type cases, or other things you can pursue, and people should. And that's why I got into the law, because I had a sense of right and wrong, and I wanted to be a part of that. I thought it was cool that we had this civilized system, right? Like, we're not going to go out back and fight. We're going to go put on
It's a
suits.
showdown.
Right, but we're going to put on suits and fight.
Yeah.
Basically, we're going to hire our thugs, our lawyers, to go fight our academic thugs.
You
And so-
use your brain.
and I liked that as a young student and in law school. I've become a bit jaded by it now because there's business to it.
Let's go ahead and turn around.
There's a business and the money, you know, money is everything in this country. And so sometimes I get a sour stomach when I know someone's right, but I know it's just not gonna, you know, either you don't have the evidence or the witnesses or they didn't put something in writing early. And that breaks my heart actually. I'd rather represent people who are a little wrong, who we're just gonna figure it out, both sides are a little wrong,
Right.
than someone who's dead to rights right and has to fight for it.
Yeah. I get that. Okay.
That's what, when I did criminal law briefly, I was at the public defender's office for a little bit, and we used to say the hardest cases are the innocent clients. You think that's the easy case, right? Like, oh, good. No. The cases where someone's guilty of something, you're like, all right, I just want to make sure that their rights are upheld and that they get a fair shot at this. The cases where someone really didn't do anything wrong, it breaks your heart because now you gotta win.
Yeah.
Now you have to win.
Sometimes.
Or there's not going to be justice.
Yeah. And sometimes if both parties are on the same side of the law, maybe the judge picks one over the other that day, like you said.
It happens. Or a jury. You know, a jury is just 8 of us
Yeah.
that don't want to be there.
And don't know the law.
No,
and don't.
no offense that we're too dumb to get out of jury duty, usually.
Yeah.
Or the, you know, not dumb, but the judge catches us.
life in general?
I think, enjoy the moment. I think I was always ahead of myself. I gotta get, in my career, I gotta get this, I gotta get that, and I wasn't really enjoying being in my 20s,
Yeah.
being in my 30s.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you think like, oh, it's good that I did some things for my career, but at the same time, I think I lost some time just being young and naive. So there's a balance there.
Yeah. And I, on the other hand, enjoyed every second of it and didn't prepare. So,
Then you make up for lost time. Yeah. I definitely enjoyed my time, but not in the ways, looking back, I could have invested in myself better.
so this is something that I think about often, exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I hate the feeling of looking back and saying, those were the best times of my life. I wish I could be back in that place. But when I was in that place, I thought the world was falling down. The sky was falling. Nothing was good. So, yeah, enjoy the moment. Enjoy where you are today.
Yeah.
Be aware of how good you got it today.
Yeah, definitely. Be grateful for even on a bad day, you can pick out a few good things and be grateful for those good things.
I've always been in the school of when I get this house, or I get this car, or I get this job, then I'll be happy. When I meet the right girl, then I'll be happy. Whatever it is.
Yeah,
And that's flawed.
Full in yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Be happy where your feet are planted today.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. And I think along the same lines that I was going to say, try to find your passion early. Some people are lucky enough that their job is their passion. Not all of us are that lucky all the time. But I think find the things that light you up and do more of them. Like I like
happy in any situation, relationships included, probably more specifically than any other situation, but if I am not okay with myself, perfectly content walking this earth alone, how could I ever be happy walking it with somebody else or working at my dream job? I have had, quote unquote, the dream job,
I technically have my dream
and
job.
walked away because I wasn't happy.
Yep.
So yeah, get right within and everything else will follow.
Yeah.
What do they say? Act your way into right thinking, don't think your way into right acting.
Or act as if.
Act as if, yeah. I think the
Make it
last,
so you make it.
make it till you make it. Yeah, I like acting as if is a little more,
No, right. You
a little
wanna.
more prestigious.
You wanna be. You know, I wanna be a lawyer slash yoga teacher slash friend, a lover environment. Then how would that person act today?
Yeah.
You know, well, I do something healthy with my friends. Be a supportive friend. Do some yoga. I'd work on myself, and I'd go be a kick-ass lawyer, right? Like, so I'm acting. I'm already that person. You could choose today. You want to be something? All right, get up in the morning and dress like that person.
And stay consistent.
How does that person? What are that person's morning routines? Do they meditate in the morning? Do they need to get up at 6:30 and have their coffee because they need to do X, Y, and Z? Be that person.
Talk about it. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Yeah. No talking, all that. My favorite song is Ocean Side. No talking, all action.
I like it. So I think we'll finish up with something I was just thinking about, and I think about it a lot. When you're coming up, right? Coming out of high school, going into college, in college, finishing college, going into your career, as an attorney, you could have went in so many different directions, right? But like you said, find your passion, and then find somebody that has something similar to what you want, what you want to be like, what career path you're interested in, and look at what they did, and don't be afraid to go talk to that person.
Yeah, exactly. Find your help.
Go on a ruck with them and ask them questions. You'll find that most people are going to share openly with you.
People love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, people love to talk about themselves. They don't all have a secret they're gonna keep because they don't want anyone else to have it, right? So find somebody that has something that you want and do what they did to get what they got.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's so huge. It took me decades to learn that.
Yeah, and don't covet it. I wish I had that. I wish I had what they had. If blah, 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 they are, go ask the questions. Even if they came by it some other way they didn't have, even if their family had money, even if they're whatever, learn from it. There's still good experience.
Yeah, because even if somebody's handed the keys to the kingdom, doesn't mean they're going to know how to open the door. So they have to figure things out some way, somehow. So yeah,
Everyone has, even the people we don't like have information that's valuable.
that's probably the ones you learn the most from.
Exactly.
Is the ones that are right.
Right.
The ones that talk smack about you, and then 2 months later, you're like, oh, they were so right.
Well, they say, the things that bother us the most, I believe the things that bother us the most about other people are our own issues reflected back at us.
Yeah.
So when I don't like
If you
someone,
spot it, you got it.
if I don't like someone who's talking too much or whatever, maybe I've been talking too much, I don't know, or I don't like what they're doing, maybe I used to do that, and that's why it's icky to me.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, I'm going to leave a couple minutes, 30 seconds, a couple minutes, whatever you want. Say goodbye. Send your regards to the world. Anything you want to say. Again, Nicole,
Thanks
who
for
happens to
having
be
me.
an attorney.
Yeah, Nicole happens to be an attorney. Thanks, Dale, for having me. This was super fun. I'm a big promoter of Rocket.